We're back at it. Another wonderful day. Blessed to be here, even though it's cold like crazy where I'm at. Blessed to be here. Another day. The title of this live. Whoa! Title of this live is Your income is not keeping up with inflation. Actually, your income increase is not keeping up with inflation. Your raises of your income is not keeping up with inflation. Let's talk about that one. All right. Let the algorithm kick in. Give me a little bit of heat. It's not too bad because it's sunny, but if it was cloudy with some wind, well, it's kind of windy, but it's not too windy. But if it was like cloudy with some wind going on, yeah, really been brisky. I can't even see. Man. I gotta adjust this some more. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah, so let me know if your wages is keeping up with inflation, if your income is keeping up with inflation, if your wage increase is keeping up with the rate of inflation, in addition to cost of living. So you got cost of living, which is usual. Cost of things always go up. Then we got this thing, inflation, which has the prices because of the interest rates and things have prices up. You got to really figure out exactly what is inflation, why we getting hit by inflation, right? I mean, some of us had the idea, inflation is the cost of products and services going up from the prices that we used to, especially prices going up real fast, You can see gas prices are also on another rise, and it was going down, but I think because of the geopolitical stuff that's going on, and I wonder what they're talking about in what is it? What is it? Davos, the World Economical Forum. What is that? Davos, Switzerland, I think. So let me know what's your idea, what's your thought? Is your increase in wages is it keeping up with inflation? Like, are you seeing gas prices going up and it's more than what you used to, and your wage is not really keeping up with that inflation, or your wage is not keeping up with that cost, right? Because your wage increase did not keep up with inflation, right? So we're gonna talk about that. Is your increase in wages, your income keeping up with inflation, right? Like I said, inflation basically, the cost of products and goods and services going up more than the cost that we used to usually see, like, cost of living usually go up at a certain percentage, but with inflation, it has cost of goods, products, and services going up more than we used to, right? But our wages and our income, even though we get an increase in wages and an increase in income, that is not keeping up with how inflation is rising. And a lot of companies are realizing that, so that's why we see a lot of layoffs happening, right? A lot of layoff happening, not just because of AI, but because of the inflation, right? Because of cost of production. Other than inflation, see, inflation go off with CPI data. Now they have this other data called PSI. I forgot the exact name or the exact term for it, but it basically tracks what the businesses, manufacturers, and companies are spending in what their cost of production versus inflation versus the cost of living, and how are they navigating that through. People don't really talk about that PSI, and that's like the cost. per living, the cost of operation, basically. The PSI is almost like a cost of operation from that standpoint. The CPI, Consumer Price Index, tracks the inflation, the month to month inflation, and the increase or decrease of inflation. And even though we might see a decrease in inflation for that month, that doesn't mean that inflation is going down. That's the ironic thing, though. Even we see, okay, we didn't have any data for the month of October because the government was on shutdown. But say for the month of November, say inflation was at 4.1%. Well, CPI data was at 4.1%. But then for the month of December, with that data now, it comes down to 3.9%. That doesn't mean that inflation, that means that the rate of increase of inflation for that month is at 3.9 compared to the month before was where it's at 4.1%. So even though it says inflation went down or inflation reduced, no, the rate of inflation for that month have has reduced. So we got inflation happen on a month to month basis, right? But we're not having our wages increase on a month to month basis. So that's where we see the problem in for cost per living and the inflation versus your wages, because your wage, you're not getting a monthly wage unless you're doing some side hustle, some side gig, looking out for different ways to increase your income. You're not really increasing your income on a month to month. If you're getting an increase from your job, it'll be like maybe a yearly bonus, something like that, a holiday bonus, and maybe at the end of the year, whichever term yours, whichever your contract is, or however your company does business, then you might get that rate of increase, which is usually about, what was it? I think 2.5. I think the average is like 2.5 to 3%. Remember now, inflation on a month to month basis is going up on the average 3.1% up to 4.2% on a monthly month increase. Oh wow, that car look nice. So I'm not no financial advisor. I'm not no fiduciary. I'm none of that. I'm learning this stuff because I made heck of mistakes with finance, a heck of mistakes with understanding money, understanding finance, understanding business, investing, all of that stuff. So what I've been doing, I've been researching, I've been learning, I've been watching board forums, boring forum. I mean, it's not boring, but it's boring when you don't know what the heck they talking about. And you gotta jot down stuff, write down words and terminology because you don't know what the heck they talking about, and go research this for your own, your own benefits, your own due diligence. So that's the kind of things that I've been doing. So that's how I kind of learning to understand how money works, especially with inflation, cost of living, all of that stuff, and the dynamics of it. So I'm not no financial advisor, no fiduciary, no accountant, no none of that. I'm just learning, and I like to come on here and talk about what I learned. See if other people can voice it and charm in. So definitely want to thanks everybody that's being on here. Thanks for being on here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you already not subscribed. If you already subscribed, but thank you for subscribing. And yeah, those are just my thoughts about wages and inflation, right? You have to, like, in today's time, you can't even like bump budgeting, right? With inflation, you can't even really be budgeting, right? You have to figure out, other than budgeting, we start have to start figuring out ways to increase our income. How can we bring home more money? Because the budgeting thing is not going to work doing this inflation stuff, right? So let me get to this live. See, George, George Leon Hurst, shout outs to you. Big shout outs to you. Where you tuning in from, George? L1, L1 Ample Lampody, I think L1 Pody, Lampody 34, Lampody 34. Shout out to you. Thanks for being on this live. Appreciate your time because you know your time the most valuable asset that you can have. So I appreciate you coming on here, sharing your time with me, being on this live, talking about cost of living, inflation, and wages. And is your income increase keeping up with cost of living, right? So that's what we on here talking about. Yeah, yeah. So let me see what's your opinions. Let me know. Is your wages going up with the inflation? What are you doing to increase your wages or your income or your take home pay or whatever have you, Because these times is serious. Serious times. Happy Tuesday, the Anderson 1986. Shout outs to you. Alpha News. Hi, what's going on? Thank you, everybody. Thanks for being on here. Appreciate your time. Times are getting harder than a month, for real. It was like, what did I really see? Well, we know about the price of eggs like for a while now, but it was something that I think it was a 2 liter soda, $4.05 for 2 liter soda. And I can think I remember paying like $2, 2.50 at the most. Oh, gee, yeah, it's starting to get up there. At the most, it'd be like $3, but now it'd be like 2.89 with taxes, all of that. Alpha News, shout outs to Alpha News. Where y'all tuning in from? Let me know. I like to shout at y'all out, but I also want to know where we tuning in, where we live in the streams from. I'm in Connecticut, so let me know. It's cold right now. It's about 19 to 20 degrees with a little bit of wind chill. Wind chill making it in the teens and teens, right? The American Star with the Rays. Yeah, cost is going up. Eggs, all of that. Bread, cereal, the cost is definitely going up. So I know my wage is not keeping up with inflation because I don't know. I can't explain it because I figured like, okay, maybe a couple years ago, and I probably wasn't even getting paid the same, but I think I feel that more things were affordable, right? Feel that more things were affordable a couple years ago. And I'm not even talking about like pandemic money or whatever like that. But um just the thought, the idea of just how prices going up on things. Small box of cereal used to be like 1.99. Now it's about $3, right? So I didn't come on here to really complain. I came on here to try to like voice my opinion about these things, bring a little bit of awareness to things, talk about it and try to find some solution because this cost is not it's not going to slow down, especially right now. We're in the winter months, and it's each and every season have something different that's going to happen. So right now we're in the winter months, so people going to be, you know, energy is all and all that stuff got to be um consumed and paid for, and got to worry about food and all that stuff. So appreciate that, the Anderson 1986. Yeah, thank you for saying that's a great topic because you got to really think of the 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 cost of living, how much you're getting paid, what's your rate of your increase of your income, wages, salary, whatever you have, right? And then compare that to not just to inflation, but we also got to factor in the cost of living, right? Cost of living is always going up. Like cost of living is like it's like for me, from my point of view, it's like a yearly thing. Like no matter what, you're gonna see cost of living going up as we progress, as we continue to go on. But then when you start to put that inflation in with it, whoo-wee, and inflation be a doozy. Inflation be a doozy, but I'm not gonna keep on here too long. Thank everybody for being on here. Appreciate you for your time. 'Cause your time is the most valuable asset that you can have. Um, so I appreciate you sharing your time with me. And we talk about this topic of is your income increase keeping up with inflation? And I'm not talking about cost of living because on a norm, a company will give their workers that cost of living, that cost of living increase, but you're not getting a monthly increase to keep up with inflation. You're not getting a monthly increase on your wages, your income, your salary. Monthly, I'm talking about monthly. Unless you at a wonderful company or something like that, and they're just looking out, but you're not getting a monthly increase. So what we have to do, we of course we have to budget. We have to budget our money. We have to watch our spending habits, our consumer habits, and then if you like to spend money, if you like to continue to remain a consumer or the consumer habits that some want to go out, maybe have a pizza, go out, Friday, maybe happy hour, something like that. You want to continue to progress and continue to do it like that, we're gonna have to figure out some different ways of increasing our income, right? Supplementing our income. diversifying your portfolio or diversifying your income strategies. Shoot, stack bottles and cans, sell bottles and cans, and invest in a small business, something like that. Is this gonna get serious, right? And we have to be mindful and aware of what's going on with the economy, what's going on with money, understanding money, learning personal finance, and in addition to the personal development that will come with it. You know, the Anderson 1986. I just noticed that. I think it was a couple days ago, and I'm like, I was putting gas in the car. And I'm like, wait, $20 used to get more gallons than this, right? I'm not balling out. I'm not. And even if you try to fill up the tank, you saying, well, I used to put this amount in it to fill up the tank. Now it's only three-fourths. Gas prices definitely going up. Fuel prices going up, and it's all that geopolitical stuff that's happening. You know, all over the country. You know, we got things going on in the Gaza Strip. You got things going on in Iran. You got things going on in Ukraine. You got things going on in Venezuela. You got things going on in Cuba. You got things going on here in the United States as well. So we have to be aware of what's going on and just don't try to let life happen to you. All these policies, all these quotations, all these sayings, all these tasks, all these movements that the government is doing, that business is doing, that private entity is doing, um, private equity firms, all of that. I'm like, oh, man, I started learning about this. So what is a private equity firm? Oh, you can't get involved with that private equity firm because you're not an accredited investor. Huh? What is an accredited investor? So I can't invest in that company. That company is saying that you put up 20 grand and they're gonna return to you 4% to 5%. But I can't invest in that company because I'm not accredited investor. Like what? So what's an accredited investor? So that's all that things that come into play. So now all trickles down. It's like you get into a rabbit hole. Like okay, how can my income keep up with inflation? Okay, you have to start to learn to invest. You have to move your money a different way. You have to learn about I bonds and T bills and huh? A T bill. Oh, a T bill is a treasury bill that you can buy from the U.S. Treasury at this price, and within a month you get this money. I'm like, huh? Like what? And even that too. Now, where's the 20 grand gonna come from? Yes, Mister. I don't even know if you're a male or female, but the Anderson 1986, exactly right. Wh- Okay, that sounds good. You get a 5 to 7% return. Now, where is this 10 grand gonna come from, right? That's all understanding money. Like, I try to be transparent as possible on my YouTube channel to the community and stuff like that. So that's to people that come on here, you know, share their time with me, you know, the love and support and all that shit. Ooh, I ain't mean to curse. But yes, Mr. Anderson 1986. Shout out to you, the Anderson 1986. Shout out to you, bro. But I didn't mean to curse. Like I try not to curse on here. But what was my topic? So I try to be transparent. So last year to the end of the year, I did an audit on myself. Like I can learn this from one of my he don't like to be called a mentor, a coach, or whatever he is, right? So he said, "Yo, are you even auditing your life?" I'm like, "What you mean auditing life? Like, what you mean?" He's like, "Audit. You know what audit is? Okay, yeah, audit. Look at different things. What's going on? You know, you hear about IRS audit. They look at your tax returns. They look at the paperwork. He said, yeah, all right. Basically, now audit your life. See what you're doing with your life, right? Look what you're doing with your life on a daily basis, on a week basis, on a bi-weekly basis. Especially for me, he said because I get paid every 2 weeks on a bi-weekly basis, on a monthly basis, every 2 months, every three. Audit your life, and see what you're doing, right? And I really audited my life, and for one, it's a lot of things that could be changed in order to make my life better. To me, 1% better each and every day, right? So some of the things I ordered in my life, and I was finding myself spending on unnecessary things that I shouldn't have been spending on. Streaming stuff that I don't even use no more, right? Just a wide variety of things. So it's just some things, right? We got to learn about money, know about money, be aware of money, be aware of what's going on in the economy. Right now, they got the World Economic Forum going on in whatever Dubois, whatever it's called, and it's a lot of things going on, right? So we gotta learn that. Like, what's this like? I just found out about that. Well, I heard about working economics forum before, but I never really in tune and find out like what they really doing. until like a wait. It was like I think after the pandemic and stuff like that, I start finding out. I'm like, wait, so what's going on? Oh, they making the decision, huh? Oh, they're the ones.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Oh, man, it's caused a lot of trouble up here in this place.
Who you?
Oh, they oh,
Woo, it's cold. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. Cold, cold. No, it's cold. I prefer it in the morning. I prefer the cold in the morning. I know, right? Shout out to the Anderson 1986. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. But man, I'm just trying to learn as I go, man. Learn along this journey, you know? You can hear me now? The Anderson. So big shout outs to the Anderson 1986. The Anderson 1986. Let me know if you got a channel too. Let me know because I definitely got to subscribe. Appreciate when people support and get on here and conversate. And we can have a dialogue, a conversation about what's going on, right? Yeah, we got to know how to save money. Yeah, definitely, man. Like, um, so my manager at my job, right? I'm a supervisor at this job, and a lot of the other workers they get direct deposit and stuff like that, right? So my manager be just kind of like, yo, try to tell everybody to sign up for direct deposit, I guess for the convenience. I'm like, wait, but I don't have direct deposit. So I really don't do direct deposit. I only do direct deposit when I'm doing bank Sherman. And if you don't know what bank Sherman is, I'll probably go do a video. I actually did a video on bank Sherman actually not too long ago on how I recently opened up a direct deposit. And the only reason why I opened up the direct deposit because the bank is gonna give me a bonus after I direct deposit for 2 months, about $1,000. It's called Bank Sherm. If you want to check out the video, I think I still have the video up. I forgot what I called it, but it's basically doing bank Sherman, right? You sign up for these banks, do the direct deposit. But I didn't even do my whole check. I just do enough so I know it will add up to I think $1,000 within 3 months or something like that. But other than that, I prefer to get my physical check, cash it, pay the bills that I feel that needs to be paid at that point. Pay yourself 10%. I learned this. What was the name of the book? Oh, I think it was The Richest Man in Babylon. I think the name of the book was. So pay yourself first 10%. Then after that, you pay for your necessities, just this and that. Take care of your debts, right? And like how what is it, John Ramsey? I forgot his name, his first name. Ramsey show says like debt rolls. So take care of the smallest debt first. Once you start taking care of the smallest debt, then hit up the highest ones, and then after that, you be able to start having being able to start saving money. But in addition to that, it goes back to that auditing, right? Goes back to that auditing your life and auditing what you're doing, especially with your finance and stuff like that. And when I did that, um, um I don't know. I need to start sharing more stuff on this channel. So 2025 was a very interesting year, right? The end of 24 to 2025 was a very interesting year. Um, the place that I was living at for 2024, I had to move out of there, and the housing condition at the time was crazy. So basically, I had to move my stuff into storage. Had a lot of stuff, so I had to get more than one storage unit. And basically, I was finding myself wasting money spending on storage, right? So what I started doing, I started selling off some of the stuff that I had in storage. Um, I'm being transparent. I ended up having three storage, right? I'm being transparent. So what I did, I sold some of the stuff from some of the storage, right? End up getting a huge storage, right? That was cheaper than the biggest one that I had. So I got a so say all right, let's do some math. So say I had a 10 by 12 for 250. I end up getting a 12 by 15 for 215 or something like that. So I end up downsized. So I sold as much stuff as I could from the other storage, right? And move everything from the one, two, three storage units all into the big side. It took some time too. It took some time and some effort, but it was worth it because when it comes down to it all, and I really look at the audit, I end up saving. I say about $325 a month now because I got rid of those storage units, and now I can put those $325 to knocking off some debts or investing, right? So as it is, the Anderson 1986. Appreciate you being on here. Thank you, man. Thanks for being on here. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your time because your time is one of the most valuable most valuable asset that you can have. So I thank you for coming on here and share with me. And I appreciate you. Hope you have a great day as well, bro. Continue to have an amazing day and continue to be safe wherever you at and stay out of harm's way. All right. But I'm also about to go back into my job and take care of some stuff. So once again, this is Ames D. Hope you got some value out of this. Hit this like button, hit the subscribe button if you already know the subscriber. And the Anderson 1986. Big shout out to you. Thanks for being on here. Appreciate you being on here. Alpha News. Shout out to you also. And Mohammed, I didn't even see Mohammed. Mohammed N69. I didn't even see you. Big shout out to you. Do, 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 do. So appreciate everybody that's been on here on this live, right? I'm about to get back up into here, get back to the regular JOB for a couple. Got some other things to do real quick too. Gotta take care of some bills real quick. Speaking of bills, go take care of my bill real quick. And after that, I might hop on another live later on this evening, afternoon, probably about 5 o'clock. I might start bringing back my Ainsley Dawkins live at 5 segment. So once again, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.